I'm delighted to welcome our guest today, Kaya Jones. Kaya is known for being a singer and artist. She rose to fame in the Pussycat Dolls, but she has since become a Christian music artist. She's known for dedicating her songs to Jesus. So, Kaya, thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Danielle. I'm super excited to be with you.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's always so much fun. We had such a great time being on Women for Trump together, traveling and getting to speak to so many people around the country. How have you kind of been doing ever since 2016 and 2020?
I've been, God is good. I definitely was shocked, like the rest of the country and world, at 2020. Since then, I just put my faith in God. It was just very disheartening to watch what we saw happen. And I went into Hebrew Bible school and went into ministry. I felt that, if we're where we were at the moment, we really needed God. So it was my then biggest call thus far in my career to really focus on and getting the messaging of the gospel of Jesus Christ out to the world, and definitely to a lot of American families that just felt defeat on the highest level.
For sure. But Kaya, your story is so fascinating. So I want to ask you about that, to just kind of rewind to when you think back. What was it like being in the Pussycat Dolls, being kind of part of that industry before you became who you are today? What was that like for you?
Well, it was really rewarding. I mean, when it initially happened, like all I wanted as a little girl was to perform. I definitely felt, wow, like I'm getting to do my dream. My dream was to be one of the Spice Girls, and here I was in the Pussycat Dolls. What a moment. What I didn't kind of prepare myself for was truly the disgusting, sickening industry that has become very now exposed. I was not prepared for that. And it's a shame. There are great people in this business, and I'm finding them now in later years. But, it was a lot of excitement, a lot of fame, unfortunately, a lot of abuse and a lot of mistreatment and very unscrupulous behavior in the back end.
Yeah. And before you got into that, I'm sure you wanted to focus on the singing and weren't maybe aware of that. So you found yourself in kind of that situation, when do you think you kind of maybe had like a wake-up call of, I don't know if this is the best place to be?
Truly, I'll never forget the moment. It was a moment. We were performing at Divas Live at MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. It was going, out to 30 million households around the globe. And it was a packed house of 23,000 people. And there were two little girls in the front row. And Patti was wailing on stage. And me and one of the other members of the group, we were to enter from the audience when the rest of the girls were coming up on a riser. And there were two little girls in the front row. And they just went, "Oh, she's a Pussycat Doll." They had to have been no more than, 4 and maybe 6 or 7 years old. And it just made me feel gutted, because at the time I was going through a forced abortion. At the time I did not want anyone, I didn't want to be me. So a little girl wanting to grow up to be me in that moment was just very disheartening. And I knew in that moment that I had a responsibility, and that I couldn't do that any longer, that I needed a way out. Certainly I was not a good role model for young women.
Wow, that is really just so inspiring, because I think so many people in that situation may not take a step back and think, let me try to change things and sing about other things. Do you think a lot of the women who are in those situations and experience that, I'm sure that they might feel similarly. They might feel like they don't like the situation they're in. They don't like feeling forced, like you mentioned, forced abortion, maybe forced relationships, things like that. Do you think it's just becomes so hard to leave the situation? Just kind of the higher you get, the more entrenched it becomes?
Yes. I can actually confirm 100% you are spot on the money. I still talk to a lot of women that are very well known, some of them very popular currently, that have conveyed to me that they're not as strong as me. I'm not as strong as you, Kaya. I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills if they take, my platform away from me, and they feel as though they will lose everything, because that is what you are. You are essentially, and I use the description, Britney Spears has also used this description of feeling prostituted in a way, human trafficked in a way. You are owned by an institution, and they hold over your head your dream, and you have a family to feed, because most of us don't come from, a lot of money or the opportunities to go into other areas. We have a gift and we're doing the best we can with it. And it's very scary to think, well, I can't, pay my bills, or I won't be able to take care of my mom or my dad, or more importantly, the fact that you have fans and you feel like you'd be letting them down. It's really sad that it's become that way, but I do believe we're going to see a shift. I think God is doing a mighty work, which is why exposing is happening now. And you're going to hear more. And it's going to shock the world when people start to understand this is very strategic. It's messaged to the children, and to get children sexualized very early. And that's strategically done. It's very much so they're thankful.